if you don't, then you will lose your mind. Take control now, 'cause you think that you're running out of time. Can't fight the feeling, hands up to the ceiling. This kind of healing can keep me up all night, keep me up all night. My head is spinning, you got me singing. I'll keep on singing, keep me up all night, keep me up all night. You have to give it up, you have to give it up, you have to give it up, gotta give it up, gotta give it up to me. You have to show me love, you have to show me love, you have to show me love, gotta show me love, gotta show me love to me.
What's going on, guys? My name is Aldeniro and welcome to episode 85 of the Midnight Hour. This is a very special episode as it marks the return of a very popular topic in the show's history and also a very important figure in the show's history. I am of course talking about Jack Swaggosaurus of Sea People Slaying fame. For anyone who doesn't know, Jack is the other co-founder of this podcast, and after a long spell in the wildernesses of the world, he has returned to grace us with his presence in a fun episode which will be laced with nostalgia. Before we go any further, I would like to say that the song opening the show is Give It Up by a band called Cities. They're very good friends of mine, and this is their debut single, so I'll leave a link to the lyric video in the description, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could go and do what the chorus instructs you to do by showing them some love. It's their debut single, which some of you might find hard to believe. Like, I've played a lot of songs from tons of new bands on this podcast in the past, and I honestly think that when a band comes along with a debut single like this, and you can hear how secure and confident they are in their sound, you can tell they're capable of really big things. And also, this track was produced by the same guy who produced Codeline's first album, so that's another reason why it just sounds like a winner. And I would really appreciate it if you go and, you know, check out the lyric video, leave a comment, whatever. If you're really sound, you can phone your radio station and tell them to play it. Anyway, the topic of today's episode will act as a sequel to a previous and very popular episode in which we discussed fan theories. A lot of you have asked repeatedly over the years for us to follow up that episode in which we discussed alternate interpretations of classic TV shows and movies such as Pokemon and Rugrats and several other things. I won't ruin it because I plan on actually re-uploading it to SoundCloud in a couple of weeks, so yeah, you can look out for that, or you can check it out now in the, you know, playlist link on YouTube or whatever you want to do. But anyway, we return to that topic today with all new theories that verge on crazy, hilarious, and just downright awesome. You're really going to like this episode. I'm really glad to have Jack back on the show because it truly has been way too long, and I'm sure you guys can all agree. And join me in welcoming him back. And hey, if you really want to show your appreciation, you can leave a like or a rating on the episode on whatever platform you're engaging with it, or check out the subreddit. As always, I will have all the relevant links in the description. And let's hear more of Cities, and then let's get into the episode.
Power in the verse can stop me.
I am joined today by the guy with whom I invented the Midnight Hour, and this podcast was, I guess, a result of a drunken conversation in a pub, and that conversation was with the guy that I'm joined with today. Who could it be? You already know because I said it in the intro. It's Jack!
Yeah, woo! And the crowd goes mild. Yeah, I'm back after a lengthy hiatus of what, 7 months?
Yeah, it's been a
8 months maybe.
Long
And
time.
that conversation that started this was how many years ago? What, 4?
5?
About 4 years, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah, it was before Codaline's first album came out, I
Yeah.
think.
It's been a good long while.
Yeah, it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and
It feels like a galaxy far, far away. Fucking hell, the difference between then and now is unreal.
I know, yeah, it's nuts. I lived in
It's-
London at the time.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, nothing's much changed for me, really. I mean, I still live with my parents, and I've still got a job. That's about it, really.
You live such an exciting life.
Things have happened in the meantime, but I've kind of like come full circle.
Yeah.
So I feel like I should address the heftily sized elephant in the room and answer a very well put question that was on the subreddit, which you should all visit, by the way, reddit.com/r/midnight hour.
That is correct. I made a thread there announcing your return, and I asked, what would you like to hear us talk about?
Yeah, and the top comment is from The Scanned. Big name drop there. Ask him why he's a piece of shit and abandoned us. Many thanks, goodbye.
Yes.
I mean, not wrong.
It's on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Yeah. Shit, how personal do I want to get with it? How much do I want to reveal about what the fuck's been going on in my life?
I tend to get very personal, but also vague enough that I don't have to say any of the actual personal stuff that's going on. Like, you could be like, well, the universe is an infinitely dark place. Just leave it at that.
Actually, do you know what? The universe decided to, all in one kind of go, really kind of just kick me. I mean, nothing really drastic, I suppose, in the long term, but in the short term, it was enough to really derail me. I was already like struggling with trying to balance work, life, and then life decided to kick itself in the head like Wee Man on Jackass.
Yes.
I think that's about an accurate summary, really, of what happened.
Yeah. It's like you were life on a United Airlines flight, and
Indeed.
the universe was like, get the fuck off the plane.
This shit is overbooked.
Yeah.
This shit is overbooked, and we've got karma here to come and drag you out by the ankles, even though you're a doctor.
Yes.
Of memes.
A doctor of dank memes.
Yeah. To beat the shit out of you.
But have you heard? It turns out that the doctor has like a troubled past.
I have not.
Okay, so what has happened today is a journalist from a publication who, to be honest, I don't even recognize the name. I'd never heard of it before. But she tweeted, like, can anyone put me in contact with this guy? I would love to hear his side of the story. And then today her story broke after she digged around about the guy and found out that he has some mental health issues or something like that. And at the moment, we're recording this on Tuesday night, so I don't think all the details are actually publicly available yet. She's threatening to, or rather, I guess she's hyping us up for her follow-up story, which is going to reveal all the juicy stuff, apparently. I saw someone on Twitter saying that he once used prescribed medicine or prescribed drugs in exchange for gay sex, so I can only imagine the stuff that's held in those documents. But
I mean, no matter what he has done in his past, it doesn't really have any bearing on the fact of what happened and like why it all happened.
Yeah, this is what I find the strangest. Like, I've seen like people who I respect. I've exited the. You won't actually know this, Jack, because it's been so long. I've exited the SJW bubble that was holding me.
That must be nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So like I've followed a whole bunch of right wing commentators and stuff. Not because I now identify with the right, but because I want a broad understanding of what the narrative is, rather than it being that everything is racist and everything is sexist.
Yeah.
And so I've seen so many people on the right saying, oh, well, this doctor is fucking insane. And my point is, so what if he is? That doesn't matter. That's not the issue at this current point in time.
Yeah.
Like, the fact is that he is a doctor who had to return
Yeah.
to work for his patients, with whom he is allowed to consult, like,
Yeah.
irrespective of his past. So we know that much. So obviously, if there's something that, you know, he should render him obsolete as a practitioner, it doesn't matter because the court has
Yep.
decided that he is a doctor who works,
Yep.
right? So we know that
Yep.
as a fact. And the airline was like, we need to make way for our staff, even though you've paid full price for this.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to leave? We'll give everyone on the plane $400. Everyone was like, nope. And then they were like, all right, $800. And everyone was like, nope. Which, by the way, terrible way of incentivizing your people by raising the price
Yeah.
and then
Because
expecting...
if I'm sat there, I know what my price is. and
Exactly.
if they want to meet that and go, if they meet that straight away, I know for a fact that I can push them.
Exactly.
In fact, in America, you are entitled to 4 times the amount of your ticket, up to, I think it's $1,400 or $4,000.
Yeah.
Nice. If you're overbooked.
Wow.
So I mean, like $4,000 is legally where they had to stop at, or where they have to go to, really.
Yeah.
But they easily could have gone over $4,000. I mean, think about the amount of. It's a real shame because the media bubble will burst within a week and everybody will fucking forget about it.
I know. We'll never know how much he's actually going to get in the settlement from this. But
exactly.
also, I think United Airlines and the way that they've acted, like their CEO...
The way that they've acted, all they had to do was shut the fuck up.
I know.
Shut up, let the news do its thing, and it'll be over in a week and nobody will remember it 2 weeks' time.
How do people not know this by now?
I honestly have no idea.
It's ridiculous.
Like, it's honestly beyond me.
I reckon, I could say something really racist on this show. Not that I would ever want to, right? But
I think we have done in the past.
Possibly. Hypothetically, I could do that right now. And even if I felt the full extent of the internet, to the capacity of El De Niro, right? Not like my real name where I lose my job and they go all in on that whole thing. But if the whole internet was like #boycott the midnight hour, right? I reckon I would continue making episodes, and I think within 3 weeks I would be back to normal with no hate on every episode, and in fact I'd probably have more viewers than I had in the first place. So that's just the way that the wheel goes around.
Life levels itself out, really.
Exactly, yeah. And it does it so fast nowadays. You used to have to wait a year for this shit.
Yeah, it's like a week now.
Yeah.
I genuinely couldn't tell you what was the top of the news subreddit 3 days ago.
It was probably, and I'm only guessing, but it was probably Donald Trump calling someone overrated.
Yeah,
it
was probably it just doesn't matter anymore. News moves so quickly because we're so connected to so many things that don't matter. That suddenly becomes such big news.
We don't focus on anything that actually matters as well. It's like
Yeah.
I was listening to Sam Harris talk on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he said something really interesting that was like, Donald Trump comes out and says he will wipe North Korea off the face of the earth with nuclear weapons, and nobody even reacts to it because they don't, A, they don't care, B, they don't believe him, and C, they think that it's all a front and he's not actually going to do it. Whereas he'll say that the New York Times is failing, or he'll say Meryl Streep is overrated or whatever, and that becomes the main thing. How can he say that? Like, nobody...
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
It just goes... Like, we're in such a weird place because the actual stuff that should matter, doesn't at all. Nothing matters. Everything is a sports... We're all just sports fans who've picked a side, and we're arguing over net spend. That's what the world is right now.
Net spend.
Yeah. It's
one thing that I think probably needs more attention given to it that's come out in the last few weeks is the whole Chechnya gay concentration camps.
Yeah, I've only read brief snippets of news on this.
Obviously aside from ignoring North Korea, who we're pretty sure have concentration camps.
Yeah.
They're the first concentration camps since the Holocaust, really. That's mad. How is that still happening?
Hundreds of gay people being shipped to these places. Allegedly, they're being beaten, abused, and murdered, is what I've read. So, but it's always with the caveat of allegedly. So I need to. I need to read. I don't know. It's if Chechnya wasn't so closely related to Russia, and if Russian news wasn't so, if I wasn't so suspicious and skeptical of Russian news,
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of the story. Not that I'm saying that I don't believe the reports, but I don't know what I don't know anything about it. You know, it's it's crazy though. I mean, just seeing the term concentration camps pop up in 2017 is bizarre.
Not in a historical context. Is so bizarre.
And also not in a hysterical anti-Donald Trump context, right? Like this is real examples of actual concentration camps, not proposed hypothetical.
Mad, isn't it?
It's nuts. Do you have anything further to add about your disappearance, or will we move into the topic?
No, I think that's it, really.
Did you slay any dragons while you were out there in the world?
Just emotional ones.
Ah, yes. Emotional dragons.
The biggest.
Well, I think I speak on behalf of all 28 of our listeners when I say we're glad to have you back, and the other 1,973 listeners that have abandoned us in your absence will hopefully return.
They will inevitably return once they find out that I'm back.
That's the hope.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Well,
100%.
I opened the thread up on the subreddit to a whopping 5 responses. And let me tell you, folks, there were some great suggestions in there. Only one of them was correct, however, which is a 20% success rate, so I will allow it. DE312, the312, whatever your name is, he said fan theories, and that's what we're doing. We're talking about fan theories. We're following up to our much revered episode fucking 7, maybe.
Who knows?
You think I would have researched that before? Anyway, this is episode 85. I know that much, and we're presenting the long-awaited sequel to our 2012 episode, Fan Theories. Perhaps was it 2012?
Was it 2012? Holy shit!
That's bullshit. 2014.
I'm googling that. I'm finding that out.
No, it's not. It's
Elden Hero shitty podcast.
It's Edenoro, is how you. Edenoro 90.
Eldonondo 90.
That's correct.
Fan theories. Shit, man, it's been a while.
Yeah. It has been a while. But I've uploaded
spell it would help.
I've uploaded some previous episodes to the SoundCloud page in your memory, so people know who you are at least.
R.I.P. in peace, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Always accompanied with an image of a tombstone. So that's the way we go about things here. I'm gonna guess, right? I'm gonna guess that we uploaded it in June 2014. That's a guess. We could have made it at any point in June. It was episode 7. You were bang on. Whoa!
That's impressive. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
18th of April 2014.
Wow, April. Jeez, we were so on the ball. Did we make 7 consecutive weekly episodes when we started? That's incredible.
I think so. This was the most weekly that this weekly podcast has ever been.
Damn right. Yeah, but it's weekly now if you're an iTunes listener. But some of them may be re-uploads. But either way, there's something that goes up every week to the RSS feed. So if you are an iTunes user, you are in heaven. Also, thank you for going on to iTunes right now, everyone, and giving us a positive rating. I really appreciate that. So yeah, we're talking fan theories. Who wants to go? I'll go first with a story about a time traveler named Jack. Because that is appropriate and it is fitting and everything. So, I am going to read this entire post that I saw on Reddit, and it was...
Where else?
Yeah, exactly. It was actually posted on February 13th. Is that not the date that the podcast started? It started sometime it was 20-something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Jack from the movie Titanic, you may have heard of it, James Cameron's 1998 classic, which was nominated for something like 14 Oscars or something like that. It starred Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. I'm reciting all of this knowledge from my head, and I really just want you all to marvel at how woke I am when it comes to movie knowledge and stuff like that. So, Jack from Titanic was a time traveler, and he was there to save Rose from committing suicide and altering the timeline. This may seem ridiculous, but think about it for a moment. If Rose jumped to her demise, then the ship would have stopped to look for her. Which is, that's a plausible part, right? Because she came from wealth. She came from wealth and her family got really poor, but she was marrying into wealth through Billy Zane. Cal, I think was his name. So, it goes on to say the temporary delay would lead to warmer weather and the Titanic would never have hit the iceberg. This is also why Jack made it a note to spend so much time with her. His job was to ensure her survival. So let's look at the evidence. Jack doesn't have any currency in this time period, so he has to gamble in order to get the ticket in the first place. He mentions fishing at Lake Wazada, which is a man-made lake created in 1917. I googled that, by the way. It's completely true. 5 years after the Titanic sank. His haircut seemed completely out of place for the era. Furthermore, that rucksack wasn't common until the late 30s. He claims he will take Rose on a roller coaster on the Santa Monica Pier, which wouldn't be built until 1916. How else would Jack have the knowledge of these future places? And before you say, because that's what the person wrote, fuck you. So, there is a second part to this theory that we'll get to, but I think there's plenty of talking points here that are apt, right? So the idea that if you imagine time traveling back to even 5 years ago, in my lifetime, right, I have witnessed a currency change. So if I were to go back to the time where I was a kid, I would have, I couldn't take money with me. It would be utterly useless. Not only that, but if you were to time travel, there are so many ways that you're actually locked out of society. Like, you don't have a social security number. You're not going to have, your bank account, any, proof of address documents. I used to work in anti-money laundering, and, I know that if you want to set up a bank account, you have to have something linked to somewhere. And basically, you don't have anything linked to anything if you're a time traveler. You are as loose as it gets. You've no photo ID.
Off the grid completely.
Yeah, you have no birth cert, no anything, nothing like that. So, to be a guy gambling for a ticket to get on the Titanic makes total sense that it would be a time traveler. Not to mention the whole haircut thing, which is completely out of place. And is not out of place in period pieces starring Leonardo DiCaprio, because I don't think Romeo from the Shakespearean tragedy had that haircut either. But yeah, so those are completely valid points, and he does mention a lot of things that are from dates that precede the Titanic. Now, no, not precede. That's before. They come after Titanic. So,
post-seed. Yeah, that's the one.
That's right.
Succeed?
Yeah, succeed.
Succeed.
Yeah,
One of them, yeah.
So the second part of this theory is, what other James Cameron movie had time travel? Terminator. Rose is Sarah Connor's grandmother. Boom. It makes complete sense.
Complete sense.
Yeah. So this is a badass fan theory right here.
Yeah.
That it links up the entire James Cameron universe. So it makes complete sense. This is the type of thing that lots of directors do. They always keep their movies linked in some universe some way. You can Google the Tarantino universe and how everything in that is actually linked in an alternate timeline where I shouldn't say because I'll probably spoil one of his movies. But anyway, lots of swearing in that universe. Yeah. James Cameron, I think he had this in mind when he wrote the movie. I mean, I definitely don't. It's a fan theory, but it's a great theory, and it's
a nice theory, and I would love to believe it. Like, if the Titanic was, like a book, properly written with full descriptions, of what Jack looks like, what his hair looks like, and so forth, his rucksack, etc. And it was written that was the things, then I could give semblance to the theory. Yeah. But I have made films. Yeah. None of them good.
One of them was good, the one that I saw.
It was average at best. It wasn't quite the Titanic. It sank like the Titanic. It went down like the Titanic. No, I'm sorry, it's just lazy costume design. It's just such lazy costume design. There is in the Blues Brothers, another James Cameron classic. It's not.
No, the Blues
Just for anybody
Brothers
wondering.
was definitely directed by James Cameron. That's correct.
Fucking excellent film. Is that what it is?
Is that the one with the robot that goes back in time to save Sarah Connor?
It is. Who plays the sax?
I've seen that. Yes, it's terrific.
They held the record for a long time as the having the largest on-screen car crash.
Yeah.
In a film.
I love
which
that.
Is just excellent. But the majority of those cars that were in the car crash weren't actually available when the Blues Brothers was set, and that's just lazy. To be fair, they probably struggled to find a lot of Crown Vics from the right time.
Yeah.
Just to crash them.
Yeah, like that, but that's fine. Like, that's the Blues Brothers. That's got nowhere near the budget of this behemoth Titanic movie.
You would think, but while I don't agree with the haircut, or the rucksack, or the roller coaster, what I do agree with is the Terminator.
Yes.
I'm so behind that. And I also like, I don't know if yours has the addition on the bottom from Tumblr.
It does, yeah.
But Jack, that's a very obscure, like, I'm loosely familiar with Doctor Who, but also that Jack could be Jack Harkness sent back from the future by Doctor Who to save Rose because she's actually the great-grandmother of Rose Tyler. Boom. That's another boom right there. 2 booms in one theory.
That means nothing to me because Doctor Who is a failing pile of garbage, as Donald Trump said. It really is.
They really did well to revive it for about 1 season.
I wouldn't even go along with that, to be honest.
Right back at the start.
I never liked it. I've always just thought it was ridiculous. You know, just a bad TV show. But that's just my opinion.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I fancy Billy Piper.
Yes. I remember, right, when Netflix first came out, there was like 4 movies on it, and like the best one was RoboCop.
Yeah.
And you're going back to
Naturally.
2012 here. And RoboCop is still the best movie on Netflix for anyone
wondering.
Yeah. But there was a TV show on there that always used to come up in my recommended called Secret Diary of a Call Girl. And the amount of times I hovered over that thumbnail looking at Billy Piper's face and thinking, I'm gonna watch every episode.
I could watch this.
Yeah. Now, I never did, but I was tempted, like, way more than I should have been by a terrible show like that, purely because of Billy Piper. So I guess I could understand, but as a man with enough self-control, I realized that Doctor Who was just not the way to go, you know, to experience stuff like that. So, denied.
Denied Rose Tyler.
Yeah.
Deny me my one chance to woo Billy Piper via the podcast. Cheers for that. I really appreciate that.
And the thing is, she does listen as well. I know that she's a listener.
Yeah. I know the entirety of the Doctor Who cast, all 6 of them. I listened to the Midnight Hour.
I like that guy who was in Life on Mars, John Sim.
John Sim, yes.
He's good. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I was thinking of, is it Gene Hackfield or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Philip
he was
Lannister.
he was one of my favourite characters for quite a long time.
He was awesome, yeah.
Because he was incredibly crude.
Yeah, he's actually. I could see he's a very you kind of guy, I think.
What I like about it, this actually links in quite nicely. Speaking of Life on Mars, because as a TV show, it is a fan theory essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like some weird, and then it spawned its own fan theory TV show sequel called Ashes to Ashes.
That's right, yeah. Which wasn't
was
as
so
good.
bizarre. It was so meta.
Yeah.
Like, it was meta within meta, and it was so confusing.
It was, yeah.
Good. I mean, Life on Mars was great. Ashes to Ashes wasn't as great. I still watched all of it, though.
I think I did, but I don't remember any of it, which I think is a good symbol of its quality.
Yeah. To be fair, I think most of Life on Mars that I remember was the Gene Hackfield or whatever his name was, kicking things.
Yeah, and saying great
swearing
one-liners.
and being sexist, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the
He's
majority
like
of my memory.
he's like Jeremy Clarkson, but without all of the horribleness, like, and smugness, and just unnecessary crudeness. Like, sure, he's crude and stuff, but not just because he thinks it's funny. Like,
Because the situation calls for it.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas Jeremy Clarkson is the kind of guy who'll point at something that looks like a penis and like, it looks like it, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, Philip Glenister's character, Gene, he used to always just give a very good and witty analysis of something despite not being a very intelligent man, and that is what I like.
Yeah.
I was going to say as well, fan theories really help your enjoyment of certain stuff. Like, I watched the latest episode of the newest series of Prison Break, and let me fucking tell you, if someone were to tell me that the whole thing takes place in Michael's head and he's brain damaged, it would probably help me enjoy it on any level. Like, maybe it would even give me like 5% of enjoyment, which I need to continue watching because it is literally the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I cannot believe how bad Prison Break is. When season 1 was really good, season 2 was pretty good, and then it just fell off a cliff, and they were like, nah, insane things gonna happen everywhere. Michael's girlfriend is gonna murder his mother, who he thought was dead, but it turns out she's alive, and she's in on this conspiracy, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And now they've brought it back, and Michael's back in jail. He's not only is he back to life, but he's back in prison. Like, how fucking bad are these people at not being in jail?
What actually just genuinely annoys me about a lot of fan theories is that they seem to fall into like 3 categories unless you get very specific down to like episodes or scenarios within the films or TV shows themselves.
Yeah.
And they seem to just be like in a coma or all in his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Like nothing was real, or you know.
Or he was dead the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Like those are the 3.
Yeah.
Those are the 3. Everyone was dead the whole time. Not even just one person. All of them.
The whole thing took place in your head.
Yeah. It all takes place in your head because it's a film.
You all went and stared at a blank screen, and whatever you think you saw, that happened in your head. That's the fan theory.
Everybody comes out with a different film.
This podcast is 90 minutes of white noise, and you think that you're hearing our voices right now, which is crazy, I think.
I know. I'm still lost to the sea people, really.
Yeah. Sea people reference. Ding 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 ding.
Ding 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 ding.
Right.
Been a strong 40 minutes before that happens.
Hit us with a fan theory.
Yeah, I have a fan theory. This is I was actually really glad to read this one because it reminded me of how much I actually enjoyed the show when I was a kid. So it's about the Eds from Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Yes.
They are victims of parental abuse to different levels.
What's funny is you don't even need to elaborate.
No,
I'm just yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But they, we're not talking like massive physical abuse. Generally, more of emotional neglect.
Yeah.
Which would lead them to be as fucking weird as they are. So Ed, if you're not familiar, tall, stupid. I think those are about the 2 words that are needed for him.
Yeah. Baggy jeans.
Single D, green jacket. Yeah. His sister lives in a 2nd floor room with toys, a plush bed and other amenities. He lives in a dirty, dank, leaky basement with a TV, a VCR, and nothing of any real value. Ed, double D, is suffering from neglect. His parents are always giving him orders via sticky notes, implying they're not home often, or if they are, they don't particularly care for him. And Eddie is suffering from the fact that his brother is very, very good at everything he does. Or I'm adding my own twist to this because I personally can't ever remember actually seeing his brother at any point.
I don't either.
So the idea of the fan theory is that he's always looked up to his brother, preserved his brother's room after leaving, never seems to escape the shadow his brother left for him. Now, unless someone can prove me wrong and tell me that you do see or meet the brother at some point in that series, I would even stretch to that he died young, and that he's trying to kind of fill the shoes that his deceased older brother has left.
That makes sense.
I'm throwing out my own fan theories here.
That makes sense. It's also very dark, and I like that.
Yeah, it's not quite as dark as the Rugrats one, I don't think.
No, the Rugrats one is definitely the most insanely
Should
dark.
all go listen to episode 7 to find out what that is a reference to.
And if you don't, I'll put it up in like 2 weeks on a Wednesday night, so look forward to that.
So yeah, I can't see anything wrong with that theory. Like, I mean, obviously I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge or memory of that show. So, like I said, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
I think they come from a town where everyone is neglected by their parents. Like, there's one kid that's best friend is a fucking piece of wood. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just it doesn't bode well for their like, there are no parental overtones in the show at all. Like, these kids do whatever they want, and they are very threatened by any sign of danger. Like, they seem to completely overreact to everything, as kids do, I'll grant you. But yeah, it's a very... Cartoons are really interesting because they take place in such a bizarrely colourful and flamboyant future that you could paint as utopian or dystopian depending on your age, probably.
Yeah, and your outlook on things.
Yeah.
I did see one while I was scrolling through fan theories about SpongeBob, and how an episode where he gets fired from the Krusty Krab because him and Sandy are doing karate too much, and the whole idea of karate.
Yeah.
I think you already know where I'm going with this.
Are you going towards ketamine? Because it begins with a K. They're doing too much.
Sex.
Oh, sex.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it was either going to be drugs or sex.
Yeah. It was either those two or rock and roll.
Yeah. They were doing too much rock and roll, but they couldn't play it on TV because of America.
Yeah. But that was another one that I came across, and it's like some of the puns and stuff that I've seen from, like, you can easily go online and find tons of kids shows that have very questionable references that would only be understood by kind of the adults that make them.
For sure.
And I think they're always good fun to look at and listen to, just to kind of see, remind yourself of the fact that these kid shows were made by very intelligent and talented adults a lot of the time, and that they could mean so many more things than anything that you picked up on when you were a child. If
you don't know what we're talking about, just watch literally any fucking episode of Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. Oh, good lord. Everything in Johnny Bravo was rampant sexism, misogyny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just what an awful person he is.
Just an absolutely awful role model for
children. Hey, mama.
Hey, sexy mama. Yeah, that was just like, it was like someone had taken everything bad about Elvis Presley and compressed it into
The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's body, but with white skin and bleached hair.
One horrendously sexist cartoon character.
Yeah, absolutely horrible. I absolutely love the crossover episode with Scooby-Doo and Johnny Bravo, and they're running through all the rooms in the house, and it's like they run into one door and they come out another door, and it's this funny thing, like they're in a huge haunted mansion and they're really scared and stuff. And I think Velma, is it Velma or Wilma? Velma, isn't it?
Velma. Yeah, Velma.
Velma and Johnny like crash into each other, and both their glasses fall off their face, and Velma's like, "My glasses! I can't see without my glasses." And Johnny Bravo's like, "My glasses! I can't be seen without my glasses." So good. I saw another fan theory about Ed, Edd and Eddy a long time ago, that Double D is in fact a girl, like a lesbian what do you call it? A tomboy type girl.
Yeah,
Which kind of
it makes a bit of sense, but
it makes sense, but it also just smacks of people going like, let's make a
Really?
woman character in a show.
yeah, smacks of that SJW.
Yeah, kind of.
Bubble
Bubble
that you
you.
tried to escape from.
The SJW, yeah. Yeah, I think like I'd love to get behind it, but I seem to recall there being a clip of Double D as an adult, and I think if it were a woman, well, maybe like could be wearing a sports bra or something. Sure,
Yeah.
We'll leave the theory float
Yeah,
there. It's fine.
allow it for now
Yeah, exactly. It's
till further discussion is available.
further evaluation.
Yeah.
We'll do that in post when we're
Yeah.
editing the show.
It definitely won't sound any different whatsoever.
I know.
It'll just be like a sudden cut and then...
Exactly. Should I go ahead with the next one?
Yeah, go for it.
I should preface this by saying... Actually, I won't say it. I'll go ahead with the fan theory and then I'll say it, and it'll be great. Right. So, E.T. is a Jedi. That's the theory, and we're done. No, so... E.T. was created by Steven Spielberg, but I believe there's some tie with George Lucas in there somewhere. I don't know if they collaborated together. I know that they're very good friends in real life, and they collaborated on several movies together. I know that Spielberg actually had a hand in creating The Phantom Menace via some production means or something like that. But E.T. is this like terrified being, like alien guy in this planet that he doesn't recognize or whatever. So there's a scene where the protagonist child from E.T., who probably has a name, Elliot, when Elliot is out trick-or-treating and he decides to bring his buddy E.T. with him, but obviously E.T. is just gonna either wear a costume or get away with being an alien. I'm not too sure. But E.T. sees a person dressed as Yoda, and E.T. is like takes a real shine to that person. Like there's clearly some recognition there. And then when The Phantom Menace came out, there's a scene during one of the many diplomatic speeches given to the Senate of the Galactic Empire, where you see a bunch of little E.T.s. Like they're definitely... So we know that within the Star Wars universe there is that species of alien. So it is not unrealistic to assume that E.T. may be a Jedi, especially considering Elliot's bike magically fucking flies through the night sky. Only a being in touch with the Force could create such a disturbance in gravity. So
for sure. So, I'm also pretty sure there's some very Force-like movements of objects while E.T.'s still in the house as well.
Possibly so, yeah.
I'm very sure that like he knocks things over.
It's time for me to break the news that I was going to say before I started the thing. I've never fucking seen E.T. at all. Never seen it in my life.
Strong. That's a strong one. Always go with the fan theories from which you have no prior background knowledge.
I mean, E.T. is one of those movies that I am fairly sure that you don't have to see it.
I didn't see it until I was about 22.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Like,
I know the famous scene, and I've seen all the parodies of it and everything. I know that they fly the bicycle against the moon, and it flies. To be honest, basically.
At this point, as long as you're well enough versed in what goes on in it that you can keep up with the memes, then you're fine.
That's literally all I need.
Literally, like, memes are so prevalent that you can watch a film through its memes.
Yeah, we speed read everything. Like, all we need is the meme, and then our opinion is made.
I have never seen The American Office, but I can tell you almost every character's like overriding features and personal qualities based on the number of memes out there.
You should definitely watch it, though.
That's what everybody always says.
I know.
I'll get round to it.
I hate being the guy doing it too.
The thing is, it's not on UK Netflix.
I know.
And I feel like as someone that wants to do film and TV editing, I feel like I'm really kicking myself in the crotch if I like watch things illegally.
Yeah.
I've been very above board for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I developed morals.
me too. Definitely. Yeah, that sounded convincing enough. um, so
So
yeah,
yeah, you
I
are
have
listening. Yeah.
I haven't seen the fucking movie, but I know everything that happens in
Yeah.
it, and I reckon you could fucking test me on that knowledge, and I'd be able to answer.
You could
everything
basically
correctly.
write out the plot.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
I could.
these.
So there you go. E.T. is a Jedi, or I actually don't think E.T. is a Jedi, because I'll tell you one thing I have seen, and that's Star Wars, and I know that E.T. ain't no Jedi, but E.T. may very well be in touch with the Force, because that is possible.
E.T. may very well be some sort of cousin or semi-related to Yoda, like a weaker, like the missing link between
a gorilla and Yoda.
and Yoda. Yeah,
Yeah, that's correct. That's
that makes a ton of sense.
It does, yeah. So yeah, I mean, nothing else to say on that. Like I said, I haven't seen
yeah,
E.T.
like
so...
I'm not even going to dispute it because I think it makes enough sense. It wouldn't surprise me if there was George Lucas and Spielberg had a little bit of a crossover in that one.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they'd thoroughly enjoy that.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
I bet that's not the only thing they enjoy. Those sick fucks.
Making movies. The naughty kind.
Oh no.
Which actually brings me on to my next theory. Which I was going to save to the end, but this is way too good of a segue to ignore it.
Oh, I'm gonna make a guess, and I'm gonna type it in the Skype chat to you
Please
right now.
do.
And
So
hold on.
this.
Do I have this right?
Yeah, you got it bang on there. I found it way too funny to ignore.
Yeah. By the way, I only know what that website is because I went in there to find directions on how to get out of there. So
yes. I much like many of the people in it, I took a wrong turn.
Yes, that's right.
In life and ended up there. So I don't know why they've specified just this universe, but
yeah, I don't think you should
broaden it out.
Yeah, you shouldn't say the name because they haven't paid us.
No, if they want to pay us, they can get in touch.
I don't advertise this type of thing for free.
No. But everybody that's in pornography, they live in a different universe to us, a universe where humans are descended from an ancestor closer to bonobo chimps than the chimpanzees that we are related to. The people in porn have constant sex, incest, orgies, pizza deliveries, punishment. There are no references to wars or other kinds of non-kinky violent conflict. Bonobos also do all of those same things. They never, or almost never, conduct violent conflict, just like humans in porn. Discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say a lot, but there are
no words for this one. Like how this came into this bloke's head why is absolutely beyond me.
I have I have family that listen to this. This is so annoying for me. I have so much to say. I just think
nothing
that
at all.
Okay, look, obviously I have never watched porn in my life, okay? We all know that. My hand is on a Bible, as I say.
Degrading to women, but not the men that participate. It's not degrading to them.
It doesn't resonate with me emotionally. There's no real quality or substance to it. I need plots and dialogue and stuff. However, I have observed enough examples of pornography.
On the outside.
Yeah, from like my favorite cartoons that parody porn, or my favorite movies that reference it, or the constant references to it in the TV show Friends. I believe I can.
Strong, nice, good.
Yeah. So, as someone who's never watched porn, I would imagine that the dialogue in it is almost excessively vapid and over the top in its simplicity, to the point where it may even be off-putting to the viewer.
Indeed.
That's what I would think if I watched it.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I would imagine that that's probably how it goes. That it's just this really weird thing where two people are like, oh, hey, do you come to this gym often? I do now. Oh, okay. And it won't be the only place where I come. And then they start fornicating, and that's pretty much how porn works. It is definitely a different universe.
It's definitely a different universe. It's literally just, I'm here, you're here. Oh dear.
It's like, how hard would it even be to just... I guess there's just no fucking demand for it to be any more sophisticated than that, is there?
I guess not.
Yeah.
I really guess not. Like, I wasn't even going to mention that one. I had to, I've got a bunch of tabs open with all the different fan theories.
A bunch of tabs, eh?
Yeah, a bunch of tabs.
Doing some research on that one, eh?
I had to open a new tab up to search for that one just to make sure I got it right.
Are the tabs stuck together? Okay, anyway.
Oh dear.
We are lads.
Oh dear.
Hashtag lads.
1990s reference that. Strong.
That's surely an 80s reference, if anything. Like, it probably goes back that far. People listening won't even know what I'm talking about. That's how old that reference is.
That is true. That is a very old reference.
Do you ever wonder on a serious level, right? I know I'm older than you by a couple of years, but we're still ultimately of the same kind of generation.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder what it must have been like to... Because I think we were vaguely trapped in a space where we would resonate with kids from the early 90s and 80s. But to just not have everything that you want at the touch of a button that's attached to your person at all times. You know what I mean? Like, if someone is curious now about what it looks like when someone gets fucked by 18 people, they can fucking Google that and watch it within 35 seconds. That's crazy. That
is mad. It really is crazy.
Yeah. The whole thing, not just the porn element of it. I mean, every other thing, but there's such a massive cultural difference between the kids nowadays and back in my day when things were good and kids had to kill each other.
We actually had a resurgence at work recently of I work as my official job title is video sports journalist, which means nothing, to be honest. I do a lot of stuff to do with football, and I talk about football with some of the guys at work constantly. And we rediscovered Sporkle quizzes.
Oh, nice! Those are awesome.
Yeah, so we have literally spent the last few days during lunch hours, kind of racing on Sporkle quizzes, and just to kind of disconnect and not cheat and stuff like that. It's tough, man. I don't remember half the shit I'm sure I used to be able to.
Yeah.
Things like Premier League, all current clubs, Premier League tops goal scorers. It's a struggle. Really struggle with it. And I got hired based on the fact that I'm good with football.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Back in 2001, I could tell you the squad number of any player at any club in England.
Yeah.
You could ask me fucking anything. And I
genuinely, I couldn't tell you the squad number of most of the top players in the league at the moment.
Yeah, neither could I.
Squad numbers mean nothing to me.
Well, no, that's untrue. I could tell you most of the big ones for sure.
I must have looked at pictures of him in his kit. In his kit within the last 3 days with the number on the shorts and the back, and I could not tell you what number Zlatan wears for United.
Number 9.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
but genuinely, I just forget about it.
I know that because Martial was number 9 last season.
Oh yeah, of course he was.
And they took it off.
Took it off him.
Gave him number 11 and said, "You'll never be a striker. Get on the wing where you are ineffectual most of the time."
I feel like we spoke about that.
Possibly.
I feel like we spoke about that literally the last time I was on this podcast.
Oh, it's possible. We didn't do much football talk though. On the
No, my football chat is it's not good, if I'm honest. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching people kick the ball in the goal. Not great at talking about it, if I'm honest.
I have a similar thing in work where we do wrestling trivia, and it's all stuff from the 90s and some stuff from the 80s as well, and it's a huge deal. There's 2 banks of desks filled with wrestling chat at any time during a given day, and Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great way of disconnecting and just like remembering when things were better, when wrestling was popular, and when liking wrestling didn't make you a social outcast. If I sound angry, it's because I am. Anyway, the next fan theory that I have relates to a movie that you will all have seen. It is called The Dark Knight, and it is about a very, very dark night. A night so dark that Batman happened. Anyway, The Dark Knight is a movie that came out in 2008. It starred Christian Bale. I'm going to do this for every movie. It starred Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. The Dark Knight famously killed Heath Ledger. So Heath Ledger's Joker won the Oscar and is widely considered by nerds everywhere to be the greatest anything ever. And we don't know anything about him, the character himself, or Heath Ledger. But both of them just arrived out of nowhere one time with makeup and scars on their face. And the Joker even explains his scars in two completely different ways, leaving the viewer clueless as to how they came about. However, the Joker is incredibly comfortable with a pocket full of grenades. He's incredibly comfortable walking into a room filled with mafia hierarchy of different families and pulling the pin out of a grenade and keeping it on a little thing so that it doesn't actually pop out. You know, pulling the pin where it keeps the thing intact, the wick or whatever that thing is called in a grenade.
Trigger pin?
The trigger pin, yes. And yeah, he also knows how to shove a pencil up a guy's nose, which is probably militaristic in some way. I guess they teach you how to improvise in the military. Basically, the dude is a former soldier suffering from PTSD. Throughout the entire movie, he shows how comfortable he is with all sorts of military weaponry. Like, there's a point where he shoots a moving vehicle with an RPG, and that's not a thing that you can just learn from Googling it.
If there's anything I've learned from Call of Duty 4, it's that RPGs are notoriously tricky.
Yeah,
I mean, they arc in funny ways.
He also is just incredibly disciplined when it comes to his timing of things. Like when the bus rolls over the guy to kill him at the last second in the bank job, that's because he had that timed with military precision. Every single thing that happens is within his control because he has that military planning. Just like Frank Castle, the Punisher, if that's the type of thing that you're looking for. He's a guy who just understands how everything works because he is a military guy. And if cinema has taught us anything, it's that soldiers are fucking actual real life superheroes. But beyond that, there's actually a part in the movie where he kind of implies with anger, I guess, that he's a soldier, was when he's like, I tell the press that, like, a gangbanger will get shot. I could try and do the voice. Or a truckload or a truckload of soldiers.
That was good.
A truckload of soldiers will be blown up. Nobody panics because it's all part of the plan. That sounds like bitterness to me. It sounds like he's bitter that soldiers are allowed to be tortured and mistreated and nobody cares about them. But if like a gangbanger gets shot, then everyone is out in full force protesting it. It sounds like he is a soldier who, you know, inevitably suffered PTSD, came back to a world that didn't want him to be part of it, and he decided to just fuck shit up. Yeah. So there you go.
I like that one. I like that. Yeah.
It holds up.
Yeah. I don't even want to poke holes in it because I quite like that one.
Yeah.
I'm also just thinking of the extreme ease that he gets his hands on so much military grade equipment as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, his sources, right? He's probably got some serious connections, given the.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just thinking like the RPG thing is like definitely, and the bomb rigging as well.
Yeah.
His bomb rigging is, which could also mean that his face was disfigured in. He was possibly a bomb disposal expert.
Yeah, could well
as well.
Have been.
His face was disfigured in a minor explosion of sorts. I quite like that. I really like that theory.
Yeah, I think
I'd quite like to see some sort of spin-off of that.
Yeah, I'd love to see a movie
that play out.
Like a movie go all out and just be a gritty movie about a guy who disposes bombs or whatever he has to do. And when
Like,
it ends,
the
he
Hurt
gets
Locker
scars around it.
takes the
Yeah,
Hurt Locker takes a turn halfway through,
yeah, exactly.
and then it just ends
like,
in the beginning of The Dark Knight.
never explicitly state that it's
No,
that.
And not in any of the hype up for the film.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably flop massively.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as
Worth
you
it.
get an amazing recommendation on
Yeah,
an Imager
like one
post
person,
7 years in the future, does it matter how much money you made? It's all about the likes and the faves. That's what we do it for.
That's all that matters, really.
That's currency nowadays. So.
It really is. It actually genuinely is. With the fact that you can make a living off of being Instagram famous, it really is.
Cash me outside. How about that?
Cash me outside. How about that?
Yeah.
I cannot believe that that's a thing.
I'm so happy that it is. I don't even care anymore. I do not have it in me to harness any bitterness to a 13-year-old girl.
I don't have it.
No matter how trashy.
I have no
she
bitterness
is.
towards her, but the people that made it relevant, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, same. I mean, yeah, no, it's absolutely terrible and horrific, but I'm also just delighted that I'm being so entertained by the ridiculousness of it. Like, that's just...
To be fair, it has brought the phrase "cash me outside"
Yeah, I
into
mean...
my vocabulary. You know,
what more do you want from society?
Waiting for a pal.
Yeah.
Waiting for a pal. I've just got another meme to add to my vocabulary.
I'm just waiting for a mate. That was my Australian accent.
Cash me outside, just waiting for a mate.
Cash me outside, how about that?
I'm sure you could genuinely make a full-on, statement, a full minor essay, just all memes.
What if I told you? Yeah, you could. You definitely could.
That it was 1998 when a certain someone fell 16 feet from the top of a steel cage through the announcer's table. Sorry, I'm done. It's a very obscure. Is it obscure? It's a wrestling meme.
Yeah.
But my next fan theory is from the show Futurama.
Yeah.
Because I like the show Futurama. It nicely filled the gap when The Simpsons got shit.
I would go so far as to say it was better than... No, would I?
I'm not sure it was ever better than The Simpsons. It just picked up nicely being quite good and being better than what The Simpsons then became.
I love the Futurama universe, though. It is so expertly fleshed out.
Yeah.
In a way that The Simpsons universe is not.
Yeah. This fan theory fleshes out... You'll like that pun later on. Fleshes out a little bit more of the Futurama universe with something that apparently has been annoying this one guy for about 16 years.
I love that. I love the obsessiveness of people who write fan theories.
I mean, this guy's just written it, and then someone's replied saying, "Thanks, that's been bothering me." It aired in 1999, dude.
The best year as well.
So yeah, in season 1, episode 7, Fry goes to they go to a planet full of beings made of water, the Trosilians. Trisolians?
I have a
quite
point.
Remember how it's pronounced.
I have a point to make about this episode.
Yes.
When you're, will I say it now? It's a real quick one.
Yeah, go for it.
So basically, when Fry drinks the Emperor, when he's looking at the bottle with the Emperor in it, that is the epitome of thirst. Just the way that bottle looks, that makes me thirsty. Yeah. It makes me want to drink.
It makes me thirsty thinking about it.
Yeah, it's so, what's the word?
Wet.
Yeah, it's the wettest water.
Yeah, it's just incredibly wet looking water.
It evokes this feeling of gluttony for me. I must drink that glug glug water.
It looks perfectly quenching.
And the way he wipes his lips after, and he's like, it's just It's the greatest
satisfied,
water
yeah.
advert that I've ever seen in my life in that
Yeah.
episode. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So after he has drank the Emperor, he obviously becomes Emperor himself due to the assassination, essentially. So he's told that to become the Emperor, he must recite an exceptionally long oath from memory, and if he fails at that, he's killed on the spot. Being Fry, he writes it on his arm to cheat, reads it off of his arm in front of the entire planet's population, misreading one of the last words before correcting himself. There are literally the entire planet watching, an advisor standing directly next to him who has proved to be a stickler for the rules, and no one ever questions that he's written it on his arm, even though they stipulate that he would be killed for cheating, for not remembering it completely. So that has been annoying someone for 16 years, and this theory has come along to rectify and explain why they did not kill him there and then. It's because the Trisolians, I'm going to call them Trisolians, I don't know, I can't remember how it's pronounced.
I can't remember either.
They don't know anything. They've never met or seen a human being before, and they know nothing about human biology. Therefore, for all they know, he is reciting from memory, and the human method to recall memory is by making it appear on his arm.
Oh yeah, of course.
They are, as a liquid, wouldn't be able to write on themselves, so they have no concept of being able to cheat by writing on themselves.
Yeah. That's amazing.
By the sounds of things, you've just sat back slightly.
I have. I absolutely did. I sat back and I put my hands on my head and I was like, yes.
Yeah, so, that's been annoying this bloke for 16 years. So going on 18 now, really.
I never knew it, but it was annoying me too, and now I'm so happy.
Answers have been provided.
Hell yeah. That's absolutely amazing. God, that's all it takes is just a clever person to analyse something.
I mean, to be honest, the best part, like what I love about a lot of these fan theories, is that was probably never intended by the writers from the start.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was just it would be funny if he cheats with this really incredibly long oath written all the way up his arm.
Yeah.
And then to still fuck it up at some point when his life's on the line. And it wouldn't have come. But that is such a good, flawless explanation.
Yeah, it is. I absolutely love a good piece of obsessive analysis like that. It makes everything better.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. And one thing I didn't actually mention is that to kind of double up on the fact that they don't understand human biology is that someone had already tried to assassinate him by drinking him through a straw.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
Obviously, if you're not familiar with human biology, not possible.
Need to write that down. Yeah.
Note to self, stop trying to kill people by drinking them through a straw.
Oh, Futurama is so good.
I know.
Will I go ahead with my next?
Feel free.
Alright, so this one I won't go too deeply into because I know it's been 7 months, Jack, but I am confident that you still haven't seen this fucking movie. And I talk about it all the time. All the time. It's my favourite movie of the last 20 years. And nobody ever, even once, comments saying, yeah, that movie was awesome. Nobody. So, fuck all of you. And this fan theory relates to Mad Max Fury Road, which is just an undisputable, instant classic and masterpiece of cinematography.
Indeed.
So, the theory centers around the four horsemen, who go by the names of conquest, war, famine, and death. Sometimes conquest is also called pestilence.
Sure.
So I'm not overly familiar with the religious overtones of the Four Horsemen. I know the basic principle, and I also know the wrestling stable of the same name. However, that's not relevant here. I just thought that I would inform everyone that I am up to date with, wrestling knowledge, and cash me outside. How about that? So, the Immortan Joe who is the main villain, I would say, the main antagonist in the movie, he is Conquest or Pestilence. He conquers people and he enslaves them in the Citadel, which is where he lives, and they're forced to worship him as a deity. This means that he possesses the duality of both a religious leader and a false prophet, and those two different personalities or personas have been ascribed to Conquest or Pestilence in the past. Some people actually think that Jesus is Conquest because he essentially completed a conquest by bringing Christianity to the forefront of, billions of people and stuff like that. And other people say that any false prophet could be the Conquest horseman.
Sure.
So it's interesting that there's a sort of a discrepancy there. But both of those are Christian interpretations of Conquest anyway. His followers are covered in sores and tumors, which is basically a real life visualization of pestilence, and that's reflected on their bodies. Those are the war boys. They are pests. They look pale, they're disposable, and they're literally rotting. Not to mention the fact that they feed off other people when they're hooked up to the blood transfusion drips. So that is, a really fair summary of the Immortan Joe being pestilence. The bullet farmer represents war. I think this one actually makes the most amount of sense. If you just apply chaos theory to war and imagine every single cliched soldier experiencing anguish, when they do that thing and they say war is hell, just about how chaotic war is. The bullet farmer is just a really chaotic character. He does whatever he wants, kills people, even by friendly fire, which is a feature of modern war. Then the people eater, he represents famine, which is actually the easiest one. He's a rich guy during a time of actual famine. He's unaffected by famine and unconcerned with the starving hordes of proles that he has at his fingertips. He's an obese man in a desert of starving, scrawny people. Not to mention the fact that he's a cannibal, and cannibalism is a sad side effect of famine. So and then the fourth horseman is Max himself, which represents death, because from the moment you see Mad Max, you see how plagued he is by the images of dead people that he couldn't save, and he has no problem killing people, and I think he seems pretty damn existentially torn up by the fact that he himself cannot be killed. So there you have it, the four horsemen, all represented by each of the main protagonists and antagonists in Mad Max Fury Road. So
I like it. I have actually seen Mad Max Fury Road.
You have? Oh my god!
Yeah, I feel like I should have pointed that out way before.
You should have, because you were agreeing with me, and I was like, this fucking guy.
This dickhead comes back in here, not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about.
What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. Because I finished my dissertation on color grading.
Yes.
So obviously with the intense color schemes in the in Mad Max, it was quite a good little film to watch and kind of just go, blue is this, orange is that.
I think there was over, I think it was either 2,900 or else over actually 3,000 separate single frame edits done in that movie, where for context, in an average movie it's 1,400. So they went to fucking town on that movie and the editing, and it's not even CGI intensive at all. There's very little CGI in the movie. It's
one of the better recent examples of blending practical and practical visual effects.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
I think is really good.
And even just the sound, the audio effects were amazing. It's one of those. If I were a teacher of film, I would show people that movie and be like, "This is what you should strive for."
For sure.
I just can't get over how it. I just turn it on sometimes. Friday night, I just put that movie on my HD TV, and I just sit back, turn all the lights off, and I'm just blown away by it. I can't believe how good it is. I'm so happy that I have seen it and that I have it on Blu-ray and stuff. It's just amazing.
I can't disagree. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I was watching it. It was just a very enjoyable. I enjoyed both Mad Max Fury Road and The Revenant in, I would say, probably equal measure.
Yeah.
But I couldn't watch I couldn't sit down and watch The Revenant again.
I can't even sit down and watch it for the first time. It literally like exhausts me thinking about it for some reason.
Do you know what? I really enjoyed it. I found myself about 40 minutes into it, and I'm not sure DiCaprio had said a fucking word.
Yeah.
But everything, like, I'm a big fan of the cinematographer on The Revenant.
Alejandro or
That's the Alejandro Inarritu Gonzalez.
That's the director,
is the director. Yeah. I know him as his last name's Chivo, the cinematographer. I followed him on Instagram for a few years. But just everything was so stunningly shot.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic just to look at the visuals.
And the bear rape scene was just...
That was intense.
Yeah, brutal.
And it went on for way longer than I expected it to.
A lot of people don't know that a bear's penis is that big, but it's there in the movie. Yeah, very realistic.
Yeah.
DiCaprio deserved the Oscar for that.
Yeah. He literally took one for the team there.
He did. There's this, I saw in the trailer for that, there's a part where DiCaprio he leans over and he squints his eyes and he goes, "You killed my son, you understand?" And I feel like DiCaprio says something followed by "you understand" in like every movie he's been in the last 10 years. I don't know if I'm right about that, but I feel like that's a really strong
genuinely
feature.
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of when he said it in when he said it in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I don't think he was too kind of preppy and like...
He was incredibly preppy.
Whereas, like, DiCaprio from, I think, like, Body of Lies, around that time, when he started going all in on the action thing, I think it's around then that he started the squinty eye, you understand? Like, you know the way Denzel Washington does the stutter thing? Where he opens his eyes really wide, and he's like, you mean to tell me that... You know the way he does that? DiCaprio does the squinty eye thing, where it's like, I'm telling you what I need to tell you right now, you understand? This is a piece of cutting dialogue that shows how intense I am, you understand?
That sounds scarily accurate.
Yeah, I think...
That sounds worryingly accurate.
I watched a lot of movies, needless to say. But yeah, I miss movie talk. I talk about movies all the time, but I miss talking about movies with someone who studied film. I think.
Yeah, it's funny because I studied film, and for a short while there, for the last few months, I've made memes for a living. I've made video memes for a living.
Yeah,
I'm not even shitting you. This is my life. This is what a film education in film gets you nowadays.
Yeah,
memes. Memes have taken over.
I have seen some of your memes.
They are very PC dank.
They are meme-tastic.
Yeah, they're as dank as I'm allowed to be based on what the client specifies.
Yeah, that's right. That's fair. Do you have another fan theory?
I do. I've got one more. How many have you got left?
I don't have any, but I have one that I would like to just say for a thing. Yeah, I have one left. Is the short answer. I don't know why I beat around the bush.
This is a fan theory of a different sort, possibly taking things in a different direction. Korean fan death. It's a theory based on the idea that if bodies are exposed to electric fans or air conditioners for too long, it causes the bodies to lose water and causes hypothermia.
Yeah.
This theory is prevalent in both North and South Korea, and the Korean Consumer Protection Board, a South Korean government-funded public agency, issued a consumer safety alert in 2006 warning that asphyxiation from electric fans and air conditioners was among South Korea's 5 most common summer accidents or injuries, according to the data they collected.
Jesus.
That was a government study put out in 2006 saying that asphyxiation from electric fans and air conditioners was like top 5 for what killed South Korean people.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I think I've mentioned fan death and the Koreans' belief of what fan death is before.
You did, yeah. You did it in a North Korean dystopian context.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Their lack of education and stuff. And I'd
Yes.
I'd heard it mentioned since then as a South Korean phenomenon, and I meant
Yeah.
to say it to you, but you were in the ocean.
Yeah, I was suffering from fan.
Yeah.
I was suffering
Yeah.
from fan death. Genuinely, that's so bizarre.
It's
Like,
crazy, yeah.
From 2003 to 2005, a total of 20 cases were reported involving asphyxiation caused by leaving fans and air conditioners on while sleeping.
You know what? In the last episode, myself and I have a doctor on the show
Toboggan, yeah.
now. Dr. Dre, actually.
Dr. Toxin Mantis Toboggan, MD.
The guy I replaced you with is another
yes.
another tall guy with a 4-letter name that begins with J. But he's a doctor, and we were discussing mass hysteria and moral panics and stuff, and how mass hysteria is a real clinical phenomenon where people suffer actual symptoms of kind of imaginary things. Now, they're not imaginary, right, because they're actually happening, but they're only happening because of perception and not like actual hard science, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I am just now gonna make the bold step of linking Korean fan death with mass hysteria, and I'm gonna put it into that bracket because I think that perfectly sums up the type of thing that it is. I don't doubt that these people were experiencing perceived asphyxiation, but I do highly doubt that it was as a result of a fan.
A fan death, indeed. I have actually delved even deeper into this fan death fan theory and found a fan death fan theory. The theory goes,
podcasting, folks.
We're getting meta. Like, we're going so meta here.
Yeah.
So this is a fan theory about the fan theory of fan death. If you're keeping up, I'm not. This person proposes that due to the shame of suicide in a lot of Asian cultures, that fan death is a way for families to save face if a family member commits suicide or dies in a dishonourable way.
Ooh, interesting.
How's that for a fan theory of fan death?
I really like it.
I would like to say we're going to go deeper, but I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure there's anywhere we can go that's deeper than that.
No, we need to know enough about Korean culture, and I don't think we do. Because I know that, like, sure, suicide is definitely a dishonorable thing to do in Japan. I know that much. Yeah. I don't know about China.
I did kind of tar with the same brush there by saying in a lot of Asian cultures, but
in the West we call that racism. Stop appropriating my culture, bro.
On the podcast, we call that ease of talking.
On the podcast, we call that facts. But yeah, it's a really nice fan theory of fan death. And also, another one that I just thought of is, what if it's not an electrical fan, and what if it's in fact one of those physical fans and they're in fact choking on it? Because that would explain the asphyxiation part.
What, you mean like the tiny handheld fans?
Yeah, the handheld fans. They shove them down their throats in their sleep, and that's why they die.
That would not surprise me in the slightest.
Fan death.
Yeah. That would be a terribly unfortunate way to go.
We should do a Korean Midnight Hour special.
Do you know what? First, I really want to try Korean barbecue, so this would give me a great excuse. Yeah.
I had Chinese food for lunch today.
Oh god, Chinese food is so good.
And I had this crispy chicken leg that was deep fried, and then what's the thing they say that's not saturated, but it's like saturated, whatever that is, sautéed.
Yeah.
In a secret chef's sauce, and then taken out, and then all of the bones were removed, and the leg pieces were cut into different little chicken pieces.
Nice.
And then it was added to vegetables and salt and chili and stuff like that, and it was fucking delicious.
It sounds delicious. Chef's special sauce always worries me though.
Same, but fuck it, you know. I actually, as a matter of fact, I don't really like sauces that much. I really like dry food. I actually, sauces kind of make me gag a lot of the time. Like satay, I hate. Yeah, any kind of thick liquid. I don't like milk. I don't like any of that shit. It just, I can actually physically make myself gag by thinking about someone drinking a glass of milk. That's as honest truth.
That's bad.
Not even thinking about me drinking it. Thinking about someone else drinking milk makes me gag. Right? That's the level that I'm at. So yeah, I like dry food, and the sauce was not quite all over the thing. You know, you could have as much as you wanted because it was at the bottom of the plate, and it was great.
Yeah.
My mouth is watering thinking about it.
I'm suddenly like, I ate just before we started this podcast, and that was like an hour and a half ago, and I'm hungry.
I haven't eaten since then. Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, so my last fan theory is a real quick one, which I'm going to use to lead into another fan theory that I came up with myself. And I'm probably not the only one who's done it. But still, in The Walking Dead, the walkers get so close to the main characters without them noticing because they are all suffering a large amount of hearing loss from repeatedly firing off guns without hearing protection. Rick, absolutely, definitely, he's got one of the loudest guns in the entire show, not to mention the fact that they kind of transition from handguns to like AR-15s and Kalashnikovs and M16s and stuff like that in the later series. So these people have fucking no hearing left, man. So like, it's no surprise that they can't hear a dead person walking towards them in the woods. So
yeah. That's
an interesting theory. And
I'm more interested in the one that you've come up with.
So the one that I came up with, I actually tweeted a while ago. The CGI in the latest season of The Walking Dead is fucking all over the place. Like, all over the place. The first instance we see Shiva, the tiger, belonging to King Ezekiel, she looks disgraceful. Like, truly awful. And then, like, the next one, like, she actually looks pretty damn good. When she's walking, she seems to look great. And then there is an episode where Rick and Michonne go to an abandoned theme park, which is not called Zombieland. The fact that the episode itself wasn't titled Zombieland just annoys me so much, right? Like in Homeland, they have an episode where Carrie needs to get in contact with Saul, and the episode is titled Better Call Saul, right? Because it's genius, it's referential, it's nice. Respect.
Everybody likes that.
That's what we love. They didn't fucking call the theme park episode of The Walking Dead Zombieland. Like, honestly,
that's
fuck
travesty.
You. Yeah, like, fuck The Walking Dead. You fucking ignorant pricks. So anyway, they're in Zombieland, and they see a deer, and I swear to God, the CGI in this thing is amongst the
Wait, they had to CGI a deer?
Yeah, they had to CGI a deer.
Alive, or is it a zombie deer?
It's alive. And
fucking hell, lads, just bring in a real deer.
It's horrendous. It's truly awful. And we've seen them CGI deer well before. Right, so the CGI flickers on and off in that show because obviously they use the budget on certain things. Then there is an episode where Shiva is involved in an action-packed way, and she looks incredible. It's a great scene, really well done. There's another scene that really just ended it all for me when Rick is with the garbage people who live in the big pile of garbage. Which is a neat meta reference to the writing of the show. But basically Rick is standing on a mountain of garbage and thinking, 7 seasons gone, Jesus. Anyway, he's thinking, he's not thinking anything. It just shows big piles of garbage behind him. Go to my Twitter, go to my images, you'll find it. You just need to scroll down a little bit. It looks awful. It's truly awful. So my theory is that Rick never fucking woke out of that coma. And the CGI flickers on and off depending on the levels of morphine he's being administered at the time.
Nice.
And obviously all of the characters represent different things. And this is how easy it is to come up with a fan theory, ladies and gentlemen. Glenn represents his remorse. Glenn always does the right thing no matter what. You know, like, that's all you need to do. It's just.
And like I said
Maggie is a
earlier,
nurse. She's
fan
caring,
theories fall into one of 3 categories, and yours has fallen neatly into the coma one.
Oh, it's so good that you're back on the show. We went full circle. We did the thing that we always do, where we unintentionally make a perfect episode.
And I've just searched and had a look through your images, and holy crap, that is bad.
Isn't it bad? It's like the 70s. It's like awful.
It's bizarre. It's like the background is shot on an incredibly wide-angle lens.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you can see the distortion around the edges of the screen.
It's
and yet
so poor.
I just don't even know where to start with it.
The juxtaposition is so immediately...
the way it's lit is so obviously wrong.
Yeah, it's horrendous. Yeah, exactly. It's like the background is dark, but he's really light. Like,
but then also they're about the same. It's like they're weirdly almost the same kind of brightness.
Yeah.
When it's like, just what the fuck are shadows?
It's yeah, exactly. It does nothing to immerse you at all. Like it's
just awful.
It's disenfranchising from it's truly a woeful.
That is just terrible.
Yeah, can't believe that gets greenlit. Like, I don't know.
That can only be a case of fuck it, we've run out of money.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Like, I'm sure they prioritize the budget on other stuff. But here's the thing, The Walking Dead. Just make every fucking season 6 episodes. Like, for crying out loud. That's all they have in every season.
Don't get to run as many ads in there, just 6 episodes a season.
Do you know that The Walking Dead is the most profitable TV show of all time ever? It has made more money than any other TV show in history, right?
And the CGI looks like that.
Yeah, no, that's not an exact stat when I say that. It's per episode or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not, obviously, like Friends grossed way more and 2.5 Men because those are continual series. But The Walking Dead, in terms of those like episodic season type things, The Walking Dead is the highest grossing TV show of all time. And they only have 6 episodes worth of content in every season, but they flesh it out into like 22 episodes. And that's why you get episodes of Rick farming for like fucking 12 hours, and it's ridiculous. But
that's just dumb.
Yeah, I know, I hate it. It's a really good advantage that British TV shows have over American TV shows.
I really appreciate the quality over quantity.
Yeah.
That it's taken through a lot of things.
If Black Mirror was an American TV show, it would just be like
terrible.
It would just be like a normal episode of something like, but what if the phone is evil?
Yeah.
Just, it's just.
The one that always, in fact, the one that you can really point to for is like the BBC's Sherlock. I'm a big fan of BBC's Sherlock, even though the last season was pretty shit. You get 3 1.5 hour long episodes once every 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, because they're an hour and a half. That's a movie.
Yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
Film. Those are 3 films. It's like segmented as a TV show, and because it's on BBC One, there are no adverts in it either.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then look at the version that the Americans did called Elementary, where they had Lucy Liu as a female John Watson.
I do love Lucy Liu though. So.
But that is such a bizarre choice straight off the bat.
It is.
And then the episodic nature of the shows, it just wasn't anywhere near as good.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. But I have a fan theory of my own, and that's that Sherlock Holmes is shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
That's very interesting. I mean, you're wrong.
You said while literally yawning. Oh, I'm sorry, you're done? Yeah, well, that's not correct.
Well, that was fucking wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess growing up as like an Irish person that never had access to BBC or anything like that, I guess I just have no appreciation for the goofier aspects of British culture, or the goofier aspects of like Fawlty Towers, for example, right? I can accept that it's good, but I think it is at times over the top in a way that makes other people laugh out loud, but doesn't really do that to me at all.
I think that's fair.
Whereas something like Father Ted just kills me because it's straight to the point, it's dark, it's topical, like, you know, it's satirical and it's brilliant. I guess I think quirkier comedies come out of Britain, and I know and understand that they're great, but I could never get in tune with it because it never happened to me as a kid, so like I always sort of am observing them from a distance rather than enjoying them in the moment. So
That's fair.
why. And also because I hate all British people.
Naturally.
Which goes without saying.
You've also reminded me of another fan theory that I've literally just come up with. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Oh, God.
Is a government-funded hypnosis test to find out which of the British public is susceptible to low-level hypnosis.
Yes,
those that find Mrs. Brown's Boys funny are those susceptible. And since it has aired, only bad things have happened. And I think you'll find that that's a fact.
I know we said at the start of the episode that concentration camp... Well, we spoke about concentration camps in a sort of a negative tone, right? Because historically they've never done anything good. But if you think of Mrs. Brown's Boys as, you know, a government effort to weed out the imbeciles, if there were a place we could put those people, I just don't know that a concentration camp would be the worst place. That's all I'm saying.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, so there you have it.
So yeah, that's my actual fan theory. That's my personally created fan theory.
Should we talk about just end it with the obvious aquatic undertones in the movie Friends with Benefits, starring Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis? Yeah,
I mean, they're not to be ignored. I'm not sure anyone can ignore the fact that his father in that film is a merciless and just a puppet of the sea people. I mean, look at where they end up at the end of the film.
Exactly.
I'm not sure there's any proof that you need beyond that.
Yep. They happen to live by a large body of water.
Yeah.
Which science has dubbed the ocean.
Yep.
Yeah.
His father has stopped becoming himself as slowly as, much like the parasitic worm. The sea people take over his brain to control him and to become their puppet master, really.
Yeah, and he becomes a bloodthirsty lunatic.
He really does. And we've discussed the ending scene that was cut from the final release of the film.
Yes.
Where, yeah.
That's one of my favourite things ever. Oh, the sea people. They'll get you.
They will. They got me good.
Yeah, that's what fucking happens to you, folks.
Yeah. You just disappear for ages.
Exactly. Well, Jack, we're glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
Let's do this again sometime.
Maybe, yeah. Weekly, bi-weekly.
Possibly next week, if you happen to be free.
Yes, I should be free.
Excellent.
It's a maybe even weekly podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited. I hope the listeners are too. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
That was good.
Solid.
It was a return to form.
That was solid, yeah. Some of the events went well in school.
Oh shit, no.
in misery in the house of the rise of the sun. Well, I got one foot on the platform. Yeah, and I love on the train. Ooh, I'm going to New Orleans to wear that ball in chain. Yeah! Ow! Where is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun? And it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
Back to episode 1.
Yeah. Oh man, episode 1 was so good, and episode 2 was the best episode of the Midnight Hour.
We peaked so early.
I know, we should have just stopped straight after. It would go down as one of the greatest podcasts ever of all time if we just stopped on episode 2. Alright, I'll start in 3, 2, 1.